3, 2, 1, action!
Hello, and welcome back to another episode here on ConverJISSAtions. Today, we're going to be discussing a really interesting topic. Ashka, do you want to tell me more?
Now, as social creatures, we feel the need to belong and interact with others. But what happens when we move from stranger to stranger relationship into something more? Where a stranger becomes a friend for life, a friend you go through ups and downs with, or even a friend that feels like family. Ichiro, what do you think?
You know, friendships can be a useful dynamic for us to get through life, but life is not always rosy. We have heard or even gone through the experience of having bad friends and conflicts before. Most of the time, we are able to resolve conflicts, but what about the times where we can't?
Yeah, is there a way that we can be a good friend without letting our emotions get in the way of the friendship? On today's episode, we will explore how we should navigate our life around friendship, conflict, and support.
Today, we have a special guest, a powerhouse of education and relationship wisdom. He spent nearly a decade shaping young minds as an award-winning educator. With over 20 years of personal relationship experience, from best friends to a decade of marriage, he's now a pastor at Covenant Vision Christian Church and a certified counselor. Whether he's teaching in a classroom or helping mend relationships in premarital courses, he knows exactly what it takes to make a connection last.
Let's go!
Before we begin, we are going to go through the 3 articles that we discussed during the discussion leading session. Article 1 was about...
So for Article 1 by Bowker and colleagues, he examined how adolescents evaluated and respond to conflict depending on whether it involves a close friend or an unfamiliar peer. The findings suggest that the relationship context shapes how individuals interpret conflict, with friendship increasing the perceived interpersonal and social consequences of negative responses, while stress plays a stronger role in shaping reactions toward unfamiliar others. For Article 2,
Article 2 is done by Cook and colleagues, where this study explores affective and physiological synchronicity in friendships during late adolescence, meaning how friends match each other's emotions and bodily stress responses. So the results showed that friends tend to synchronize their stress responses, meaning if one friend becomes more stressed or negative, the other is likely to show similar changes. Interestingly, while negative emotions and stress levels increase together, positive emotions sometimes move in opposite directions, suggesting one friend may try to balance the other's mood. And Article 3?
Article 3 is done by Mey-Baijens. Article 3 is done by Mey-Baijens and colleagues.
Okay, so the article is about co-rumination, where it's characterized by excessively discussing problems and dwelling on negative effect within a dynamic friendship, and is associated with adolescent symptoms of depression, anxiety, and perceived stress known as psychological distress. The article explored whether co-rumination moderates the association between perceived best friend support and psychological distress. So what did you find?
So they found that at low levels of co-rumination, best friend support is still clearly protective. However, at moderate levels of co-rumination, the benefit is weakened. And if there's a repeated dwelling, this becomes a very high co-rumination, where best friend support is linked to higher perceived stress and depression symptoms.
Yeah. Okay, so with that, should we bring our guest speaker in?
Yes, it should.
yes.
This podcast is sponsored by Secure Relationship Pet Society. Get yourself a secure and loving pet, no co-rumination involved, but just a safe space for you to vent all your emotions. For $9.99 only, get yours at Jissa Pet Shop today.
Secure Pets provide unconditional emotional support and snuggles only. They are not licensed therapists, counselors, or substitutes for professional mental health care.
Okay, Pastor Jeremy, could you briefly introduce yourself and share why you started working with young people or couples?
Okay, well, my name is Jeremy. I was formerly a secondary school teacher for 7.5 years, and now a pastor for 3 years. Yeah, so I mean, since I was a teenager, I've always loved working with people in my age group or even people who are younger, listening to their problems and all. I think it kind of helped that I was too shy at that time, so people think I'm a very good listener. Yeah, so they come to talk to me, and as they talk to me, I feel good that they are being heard. Yeah, so that prompted me to want to be a counselor, even to help people. But long story short, I became a teacher instead, which also involves some form of counseling work and working with younger people and things like that. So I feel that I connect pretty well with the youths, with the young people, and I personally benefited from being mentored even when I was younger. So when I decided, hey, I want to help more of them, it's quite a natural progression. It's like I want to pass on whatever that I've learned and whatever I've benefited from when I was younger. As for couples, I've always been quite enthusiastic about the whole idea of this romantic love and all those, and I've been researching, reading books, websites, things online, and even also talking to people, the older people, the much older people, trying to gain some wisdom and all. So it's my passion to see couples succeed in their relationships.
Okay, based off your experiences like so far, could you share one or two memorable experiences you've seen of close friends in conflict, and what did they actually do to try to resolve it?
Yeah. So for your question, does it mean they come to me for advice kind, or something that I see and I'm not involved kind?
Maybe you can share both.
Okay.
Yeah, both.
Yeah.
Both sides.
Okay, so as a teacher, I have a lot of friendship issues to resolve. You know, secondary school people. So there's one group, a group of female students, girls. There were 3 of them. So they were like best buddies together. Everything do together, eat together, whatever not. But because they're also young and in that sense immature, there are a lot of times when they talk, they tend to hurt each other. Yeah, so they think it's joking, but the other person don't think it's joking. They take offense and all those. So there was once where it blew up and they had a Cold War. They were ignoring each other, don't want to talk to each other, and then after that it escalated into social media where they post nasty things about each other and all those. So that's where one of them came to me to talk about it. So and when I sat down with them in real life now. I was trying to identify what are the common grounds, because I feel that in conflicts, common grounds are one of the key important things to identify. Because in conflicts, you often focus on the gaps, the differences, the what is not right. But within a conflict itself, there are things that are going right, the things that you're agreeing on, there are common grounds that you can take. And I think I learned this while reading something about negotiating with terrorists. How people come and terrorists clearly want something and they are up to no good and all, but yet the negotiators come in trying to identify the common ground. And that's how they structure their negotiations and all. So in conflicts, that's why I try to find. If I can find common grounds, then they can see actually we are probably more alike in our thinking than we are different. Yeah, in our gaps. And as I identify the common grounds, this is where I also see how as they see it and they're like, okay lah, actually we still see each other as friends. We just didn't like what you say but we can work with that. And that's where they came back together after that. So in this particular case, the mediator or the mediation was an important part in resolving. They could not see it on their own. I think if you just leave them like that, they'll probably not talk to each other ever again. But because they sought for help, so through mediation, I taught them the skills of how to see common ground in order to solve this conflict. Yeah.
It's kind of interesting that you use such a big strategy for such a even in a simpler situation. And I wanted to ask something. Oh my god. Wait. Oh, I was going to ask you, when you were saying that they had a Cold War situation,
yep.
Was it obvious to you as an outsider that, hey, something's wrong with this group of friends? Or it didn't really come across like that?
So in the class setting, you would see it because they are my form class students. So day in, day out, you see at first these 3 girls are always together, and now they are not talking to each other. There would be some questions that's raised. But at the same time, my personal stand, even as a teacher or so-called mediator, is I try not to jump in too quickly. Because as people, part of learning to establish strong friendship is when you are thinking, you are experiencing certain tension and all, and you're trying to solve it. Yeah, so if I jump in too quickly, I'm going to shortcut that process. And in the end, every time they have a problem, they come to me, which is not desirable. I don't want to be a psychological crutch.
Then, regarding this about like finding common ground, right,
Yep.
for the students that you have encountered, have you noticed like any difference? Let's say, for example, if let's say you step in and then you tell them about this like common ground that they have versus like when they don't, like when they are unaware about this common ground.
As in, do I notice in the
Like
difference on how they relate to one another?
Or rather, how they like move forward from the conflict based off this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess it also differs from people to people. If they don't look at common ground, can they resolve it? Hypothetically, it's still possible, but it depends on how they do it. So some people will bury their emotions. Okay, I don't care. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Let's move on. That is one possible coping strategy that they may have. Other forms can be that they're really just lashing out at each other until they realize how silly it is. But then they stop. Can I say they've resolved the issue per se? Maybe not. But they reach a point where of a peak that they no longer do it. Or in some cases they just don't talk to each other anymore. Yeah.
I see. Alright. Then the next thing is that we understand that you've been in a relationship for over 17 years.
Yeah.
We just wanted to ask, how was your understanding of conflict change from like the early years till now? Like what are some key differences or like
Yeah. I think for me, I used to think conflict is a bad thing. That a good relationship should avoid conflict at all costs. Yeah, I mean, the moment there's conflict means something is wrong, right? I used to think that conflicts cause a lot of harm, and if two persons can avoid it by, I don't know, talking better and all those kind of things, it will be a good thing. But as I grow in relationships and observing and all, I realized that conflict actually is a neutral thing. It's not a bad thing. It creates bad feelings, sure, at the point of it happening. But in itself, it's an opportunity, or it can be an obstacle. It depends on how you respond to it. The conflict itself highlights that there's a gap in the relationship, right? There's a difference, and that's why now I may not like what you're doing, you may not like what I'm doing, but there's a gap between the two persons. And naturally, every single person has a gap with another person because they are not identical, right? So the conflict reveals that gap. How you respond to it will then determine whether your gap grows bigger, and then after that you decide to break off or whatever not, or your gap grows smaller, and you actually get closer to each other. So the irony I find in my observation is that when you handle conflicts well, you actually grow closer to each other. The conflict become that platform that enables your relationship to grow more intimate, rather than something that tears you apart. So I personally now believe that conflict is a necessary part of relationship growth. Yeah, the whole idea that I should avoid all conflict actually can be a negative thing, because to avoid conflict, what happens is that maybe you are burying your emotions, you are ignoring red flags and all those kind of things, which then becomes a potential big explosive disaster much later on. Yeah, but if you address it well now, then it becomes something that is good.
Do any of you agree? Speaking of conflict, you mentioned that it's neutral, right?
Yep.
But how do you know whether that person is supposedly supposed to be a good friend or a bad friend?
So the heart behind your question is that that certain conflicts come because that person is a bad friend and trying to create problems for yourself. Is that what you're saying?
Something like that. Yeah. Like how do you know like, okay, this conflict is just temporary, but it doesn't mean like, oh, that person is a bad friend. It's just one of those days, right? So like, how do we know that friend is our friend?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I think sometimes we see people as binary in the sense of either or. You are either good or you are bad. I see that in this particular case of character, there's a lot of in-betweens. There are people who are good, but has a certain quality that is so-called bad that's causing the issue right now. There are, of course, some who are pure evil, but generally, in the extreme cases, you would be able to identify who is the terrible, the one that's out to get you, your enemy. I mean, they are not going to make it. They're obviously an enemy. I think it's the in-betweens that you will find it difficult to see whether he is a so-called good friend or not. But this is where exploration takes place. When you go through life experiences together, that's where you will make a better judgment of a person. So same with boyfriend, girlfriend, right? How do I know that right now I said I love you to the ends of the world, and I'm no matter what, I'll never break up with you, and you post on social media? How do you know that that person is really that person? You wouldn't know if you only interact with that person for 1 week. The feelings may be strong, but it's through life experiences when you go through projects together, group projects maybe, then you see the heart of the person, and then that's where you make a judgment. Do I want to continue with this friend or not? Yeah. But generally for me, for most friendship, they don't start off with I'm out to get you. I'm gonna pretend to be so nice to you, but after that I'm gonna go and assassinate you in terms of your character, whatever not. It doesn't start off with that. It starts off with, okay, I think we can explore being friends. Let's try. And as you try, you realize this person has bad habits, whether it's their body language, their verbal, their whatever not. And then slowly you're making a decision. Do I want this? Do I not want this? The other person is making the decision also. So whether it continues on or not, it depends on, in the end, what you both are going to decide.
Yeah. So why do you think people would choose to avoid conflict, especially for those that they care about?
Yeah, so for me, conflict avoidance also hinges a lot on safety. How safe is it to express myself? How safe is it to disagree with you? How safe is it to for this to be discussed? And this is also learned experience, because I mean, whenever we have a friendship issue, we will try to talk. And if I bring up even a small thing and you go very defensive, I know that the safety isn't there. And then I try to bring up another thing, and then you start accusing me instead. You start saying, no, you are also like that, and then you divert the topic from yourself back to the one that raised the issue. It's gonna make it very difficult for someone to want to confront anymore. I care for this relationship. I care for this friendship. I want it to continue, but each time I raise it, it seems like you're coming back against me. So I don't feel safe. And in that sense, I start to have it's like a what I call a belief expectation cycle, right? You have an event. That event is a conflict, and you're raising that conflict right now, that the issue, and then what you're getting is a lot of attacks. So then that will form your belief. My belief is, if I raise it, I will feel hurt. I get more harm instead. If I raise it, my friendship may break off. If I raise it, all these other things will happen. So my belief is starting to be formed, right? And that would then in turn affect my expectation. Since I already believe it that way, so if I raise it, even if I try just maybe this last time, let me just raise it. So friend, I have to talk to you about this. And then you get attacked again. Then you're like, it confirms my belief, so now it's going to affect my behavior. My behavior is, I'm not going to do it anymore. So I'm going to avoid it. Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
This podcast is sponsored by Secure Relationship Pet Society, because not all relationships need to be complicated. Are you tired of emotional conversations turning into overthinking and spiraling? Say less. For $9.99 only, get yourself a secure pet today at Jissa Pet Shop.
Secure Pets provide unconditional emotional support and snuggles only. They are not licensed therapists, counselors, or substitutes for professional mental health care.
So, do you think that opposites attract or birds of a feather flock together? Which one do you think is like more common in a sense? from your experience?
Are you talking about relationship or as in friendship or couples?
Maybe like both?
Both?
Like, yeah.
Okay, I'll start with couples first.
Okay.
Somehow, based on my observation, even among the older adults and all, it seems like opposites attract. I don't understand the psychology behind it, but I see my parents, I see other people's parents, I see them. They come from extreme ends in that sense. Even for me and my wife, we are very, very different. Like I said, I don't understand how that works, but it is what I see. But that also means that because it's opposites, there's a lot of gaps. And a lot of gaps means a lot of fuel for conflicts. Yeah. For friendships, I would say it would depend. Because often you become friends due to certain commonalities. In this case, your friends, one of the reasons is because you are in the same module together, right? That's how you meet each other, that's how you start to talk to each other and all. After that, you may branch off. Maybe two of you like badminton, so you go out together to play badminton. There's a common ground there.
Yeah.
But does it mean that you are the same because of badminton? No, you have a common ground like badminton, but you may like something else, shopping. You may like Netflix instead. There are other things. So I can't say that you are complete opposites, but you do have some form of common ground that brings you together.
Okay. So now, do you think your feelings with your partner, your wife, seeing her as your lifelong best friend, or like are you like similar in any way, kind of thing?
So for that question, you are asking whether my wife is my best friend.
Yeah, in a sense.
Do I? I would say yes. My wife is my best friend, but it's different from a guy best friend. I mean, the dynamics between male and female is different. I'm not saying in a bad way, but it's just different. So with guy friends, I probably can joke about things in a certain way. With my wife, it has to be a different style because she's a different person. But she is my best friend in the sense that we go through life together, and we help each other as we go through life together. To me, that is one of the key aspects of being a friend. I mean, we're going through life together. We're not just superficial. We are talking about heart issues. We're talking about emotions and whatever not. So by that definition, I would say friend, and by that extension, best friend. Yeah.
That's interesting. So, like in friendships, sometimes we tend to end up doing the same things. Like for example, me and another friend turned up to class wearing an exact same outfit without planning it. And so in the same way, right, this kind of matching concept, our idea, also tends to fall over into feelings. So my question is that, do you think there's an example that you can give us where your own feelings were affected by your friend or your partner's stress or emotions? It spilled over to you. So it can also be let's say Ashka comes into class today and she's really, really happy, and because she's really, really happy, it uplifted my mood, and I became happy. So what about in a conflict situation, where someone's stressed and the stress spills over to you? Kind of fun.
Yeah, I think when it comes to relationships, that does happen. I mean, if my wife is unhappy, I won't be bouncing around dancing joyfully and all that. That would be a big issue after that. Okay, for me personally, I'm a kind that likes to reflect a person's feelings. Not so much that I absorb what you're feeling. So you may be my friend and you're angry, but that doesn't make me angry. But I can reflect what you're feeling in the sense that I am not gonna be smiling and happy while you're being angry, but my whole body language will go in such a way that tries to meet you at where you are. Yeah, and from there we decide what to do with that. I mean, if we're gonna talk about it, then I'll help you and things like that. Yeah, I'm not sure the answer.
Yeah, I mean, definitely I agree.
But also, do you feel like, let's say if you're having a conflict right now and you're trying to match the person's emotions and be empathetic with them, let's say after your conversation is done and you are moving on to your next thing,
Yeah.
do you think that that emotion with you stays, or are you able to like put it aside?
Okay. For me, with all other people except my wife, I can move on quite quickly. The moment something is done, I am away, it doesn't linger with me. I've learned how to surrender it in the sense that it doesn't stay inside of me. I learn how to detach. With my wife, it's a bit more different because you're in the same house together, you literally go to the same room together. So if she has a lingering feeling, then it will still continue to spill over. Yeah, in that sense. I would need to find another kind of outlet that may help. Yeah, but for all other things, when helping youths, teenagers, whatever not, the moment they leave and all, I am completely detached.
Okay.
This podcast is sponsored by Secure Relationship Pet Society. Have you ever felt the dissatisfaction of venting your emotions at a soft toy? Get yourself a secure pet like Coco, where you can get some form of response instead of venting your emotions at a soft toy. For $9.99 only. Come down to Jissa Pet Store today to get your deal.
Secure Pets provide unconditional emotional support and snuggles only. They are not licensed therapists, counselors, or substitutes for professional mental health care.
Okay, because you said with your wife, there are times where she tends to linger and you linger. How do you push that towards problem solving?
I think with especially with people closest to us, we recognize that some problems can't be solved immediately. Some problems will take some time, and time can mean days. Yeah, simply because the topic itself is not an easy topic. Yeah, I think in situations like this, there will be a period where we will agree to disagree. I'm gonna say things like, I'm not gonna talk about this right now, but doesn't mean I'm forgetting it. I know it still affects you, but I feel that there will be a better time later on, or maybe tomorrow, where we can address it again. And then we come back together and talk again. One thing that I find that during periods like this is that the first day when it happens, it's really hard to say, let me just detach for a while. Simply because we want it solved. There's a tension in the house, you feel it and you don't like it. Nobody likes having a weight of tension on your shoulders. But I've learned through many such issues that really, after 1 day or 2 days, when you revisit again, you see it in a different lens. You no longer see it from a lens of tension. So when you don't see it from a lens of tension, you also don't respond with that kind of tension. Yeah, it's about being aware of what's happening in your body when you are having conflict. We always think it's the issue itself, but the fact is our whole entire being, our spiritual, our physical, our emotional, our mental is all affected in all these different dimensions. And some of it will resolve itself first than others. Yeah. So it's about knowing yourself and how to do that. Yeah. There's also something that I learned is that not all issues are problems to be solved, but tensions to be managed. That means no matter how you try, you just can't solve that issue. The tension there, but in that sense, the tension itself is not necessarily a bad thing. It's going to be there, it's going to feel something, but you can actually manage it in your life together. So for example, if you have a mother-in-law that you don't like, that clearly is over controlling and all, you can't say, I'm going to solve my mother-in-law. I'm not going to talk to her, I'm going to disown her. That's not going to happen. So there will be a tension there, but within this tension itself, between both husband and wife, you can also still find something that will help you manage this tension. Yeah.
How would you balance empathy with encouragement in times of such situations?
And what would you say is the context of that? Why is it important to distinguish or differentiate empathy from encouragement?
Why is it important?
As in, okay, so I'm trying to get background of that question? Are you seeing that some people encourage without empathy, or empathize without encouraging, or what's the?
I mean, you can encourage someone without feeling empathetic. So I'm just curious, like, how do you multitask both actions at the same time? Oh my god. Okay, yeah.
6, 7. Yeah, okay. So so let me give you an example, and you let me know whether that's what you mean. So someone who encourages without empathy would be like, if you are facing a problem, you say things like, there's a small problem, you can one. Is
Something
that,
like that. Like, it always seems so much like, what do you mean it's a small problem? Like, I think it is a big problem.
I think in that sense, the person saying a small problem could also argue that I'm empathetic. I know that you're feeling something. I'm just telling you that actually it's a small problem, so that you don't feel so bad. It's more about how you are showing the message of empathy. I think that's the one that people do not see. For me, the skill set in projecting this empathy comes in the form of active listening. How are you listening to someone? Because you can literally just listen, and then in your mind you're like, I know your solution already. I know what's your problem, your solution. Let me just tell you this 5 steps. You just do okay already. Small problem. It sounds like you are helping, but what the other person is looking for is not that kind of encouragement, but that you are feeling what the person is feeling. So for me, so-called balancing is number 1 through active listening. I hear you, I ask questions, I paraphrase, I try to show you that I'm understanding what you're saying first. Encouragement then will need to be pitched at the level that you are at. What does encouragement mean? Because I say, I just go do it, I support you. Sounds like an encouragement, but to the other person it's not. Yeah. So encouragement needs to be at where you are at. Yeah. But that's not to say that this kind of so-called pushy methods are not encouraging. If you're doing a rugby match, for example, and you are in the final minute and you have to run towards that goal or whatever, not the coach may not be like, it's okay. They run, you can do it. that kind of thing. You would so in that kind of situation, encouragement looks very differently. So it really has to be contextualized. Yeah.
I think to build up on that as well, I think you're mentioning how the way, correct me if I'm wrong, the way you portray your encouragement or show your empathy to the individual, it matters a lot, right? I just wanted to ask, like just now you were mentioning about how tensions or whatnot, let's say with your wife, compared to others, is different because of, let's say, household. You guys go back to the same room and stuff like that compared to the other people, right? Just wanted to ask, is there a difference that you see yourself doing in terms of active listening or whatnot in these 2 different aspects?
For me, it's pretty similar. Okay, similar in the sense of the skill set of asking, the active listening is there. But of course with wife, you can be a bit more lovey-dovey lah. It's okay, I'm hearing you out. As in, you won't be like, alright, tell me your problems. I think the demeanor will be a bit different. But in terms of the part where I want her to feel that she's being heard, that's consistent. The principles itself is there. The expression of it will be different. And there are more things you can do with your wife than other people. I can't go around hugging people, but with my wife I can. That kind of thing.
I see. Okay.
So, which brings us to our final question. So, I have a partner of 5 years, and I also have friends of over 10 years. Do you have a secret to a long-lasting relationship or friendship?
Wow. Secret for long-lasting.
Tell us a secret.
There are big principles and there are small things. I wouldn't say that because of that one thing, if you have this one thing, your friendship will surely work out. Because people are complex. There are a lot of factors and the backgrounds and all those that we need to deal with. Okay, but I can give you one big heading, and that big heading is probably the word humility. Yeah. So I get this from the Bible saying, do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit, but rather in humility value others above yourself, not looking to your own interests, but each to the interests of others. So basically, less of me, more of you, that kind of value system. But there's a big but here. In order for that to work, it has to be mutual. It cannot be me so-called elevating you and you elevating yourself, because it becomes an imbalanced kind of relationship. So the struggle with friendship or relationship really is that sometimes it's only one person putting in the effort. Then it's going to be very, very tough. But if both have that same core value system of humility, of wanting the best for each other, and all this to me enables the friendship to go longer. Because if I want the best for you, that means I'm going to do things that are in your interest, and you're going to do things in my interest. So it's a mutual help. The irony is that when we look out for ourselves, right? I want what's best for myself, I want what's best for myself. It seems like we are both trying to elevate ourselves. But it's not as strong as when we're elevating each other. Somehow when there's that cross connection, the friendship or relationship has more depth. It builds more, because you're not just thinking about it, you're not self-centered now, but you are other-centered. And when both of you are other-centered, it builds itself up much stronger. Yeah. This is the big principle. There are a lot of small sub-principles. So I was just reading an article just today in time for this, about 100 things that you can do 100 small reconnections that change a marriage more than any big gesture or body language, right? And I'll just read to you some of it. And one of it is looking up from your phone when they walk in. They come in from the home. You're not like they're back and you don't. But in this small gesture, when they walk in, you put down, you go to them. It's a small gesture, but it helps in that reconnection. Another one could be that that when you're listening to their story, even if they said it 4 times already, you're listening to it like it's the first time you're hearing it. You're still asking questions. Yeah. You're not like, I know what you're going to say already. Yeah. So it's through all these small gestures that we learn. Do we all practice this 100 small things? No. But we have a whole lifetime for it, so to speak, with our friendships, with our relationships. As we take all these small steps and we build these small things, like the Malay phrase, right? A little you build becomes a very big thing, right? It becomes a hill. So relationships will be built on all these small things also. Yeah.
I guess what I'm also taking from that is like the basic thing is also to acknowledge the person, whether it's your partner or your friend. Yeah. Which is really, I guess, really powerful.
Yeah. I mean, if you notice, when young people go out, they are in the same on the same table, restaurant, but what they're doing is on their phone.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So these are small gestures, right? I mean, can you talk to each other on the phone? Sure, but it's just weird. You're not talking face to face.
Yeah. Okay, that kind of concludes the questions that we have. Thank you so much for doing this with us. Yay! Okay, it's a wrap.